Welcome to Love Where You Live, a podcast where we have conversations about why it's awesome to live in Boulder. And today I am joined by Paige Doughty. And if you're not immediately recognizing the name, you will know her as one half of the extremely well-known and well-loved duo, Jeff and Paige. They've been doing performances that educate and entertain and inspire the youth of Boulder and Boulder County, and they have been doing that for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. Paige, I'm excited to have you here.
Thanks, Michael. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's a treat, and we've been talking about this for a couple months now. We're here, we're live, we're together. And the first question I have for you is, realistically, why are we not calling this group Paige and Jeff? Because, I mean, look, cutting right, and Jeff, if you're listening, which I know you're not, we've got the talent, we've got the beauty, we've got the humor, and we've got the intelligence of the group here today on the couch. Sorry. No, but really, I really believe that. But tell me, was it hard to pick? Because you guys are a married couple doing a thing. How do you pick that? How do you make it?
Love this question.
Yeah.
It's a really good question. Yeah. So my friends that know me first often call it Paige and Jeff.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they're like, "Oh, I see that it's Jeff and Paige." It was hard to pick.
Yeah.
Not which name went first, but just what to call ourselves at all.
Okay.
And we thought a lot about having a group name instead. Like often bands have a group name, and they don't just use their first names. And what we realized is that we wanted to be, especially because our audience is kids and families.
Yeah.
We wanted to be ourselves. We wanted to be absolutely, completely, authentically ourselves. So Jeff and Paige. Yeah. And I'm going to give you a little bit of the nitty gritty here on that.
Let's go.
Because I think that's what you want to hear too.
Yeah, let's go.
Which is, Jeff and I started working together right out of graduate school.
Yes.
And he was already performing as Jeff Kagan.
Okay.
And so I came in later.
I gotcha.
And there was a lot of tough, hard conversations that happened.
For sure.
However, my favorite quote from a child that happened around that time is that a kid was trying to understand, like, I've been seeing Jeff performing and now there's this other person. And this is what that child said to his mother. Well, Jeff used to sing songs and it was great. It was really great. But then Paige came along and it's so much better. And then it's a direct quote from a child.
Yes, direct quote. That is it. From the audience, from the viewers, from the participants. I love that because, I asked the question a little bit in jest, but there really is a lot that goes into that. And that was some backstory.
Yeah.
And so let's do this. I'll just quickly pause and say not every one of the listeners is going to know exactly who Jeff and Paige is, what that group is. And if you have children or have had children over the last 20 plus years, then you're going to recognize the name and you've seen some shows. But to those of you that are not, I'm going to let Paige give it to you kind of in a nutshell. Mm-hmm. What is Jeff and Paige?
Yeah. We perform live shows. We also have a YouTube channel and coming out very soon, a TV show. Yes. And we educate about nature and science through music, movement, theater, and songs.
That's super. That's it. That's in a nutshell, perfectly said. The TV show, I want to hear more about that. So folks, if you haven't seen it or if you guys want to see him live, anyone out there wants to see him live, look it up. The website is
jeffandpaige.org.
I'm just being careful because I already started our first run of this podcast by saying something incorrect. So we're on round 2. Either way, we're going to come back to that. I love to start these conversations off with the question of kind of where you came from. What I know is that you maybe grew up a little bit overseas and in the U.S., splitting kind of time. So tell me about that. Where did you grow up?
Yeah. When people ask me where I'm from, I always have to take a deep breath. Be like, how much do you really want to know?
Yeah.
I was born in Minnesota.
Okay.
But I'm not Minnesotan. I don't have the I can't even do it right. Yeah. My bag. Yeah, I don't know if you've heard that one.
I have heard that one.
My bag.
My bag.
I was born in Minnesota, and then we moved. I moved 5 times before I was 15, mostly back and forth between Minnesota and Belgium because of my dad's job.
Okay.
And then at college, I came out here to Boulder. that was how I got here. I came to and went to CU.
Right.
And I was here for that. And then I ended up moving again. I traveled a whole bunch after that. And I came back here because I do actually love living here.
You love it here.
I love
good.
where I live, Michael.
That's good. Perfect.
Yeah.
That's why we named this show as we did. So, all right. I just have to hear a little bit more about that. So, born in Minnesota, but for 15 years, you're back and forth. Why Belgium? And did you like it there? Or was it?
Yeah. So, my dad worked for 3M.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so, we moved whenever he had a job transfer.
Gotcha.
I think... I'm going in a really random tangent here, but I think corporations have learned over big international corporations like the one my dad worked for have learned. But back then, in order to kind of get to the next rung on the corporate ladder, you had to move. It was like, okay, you're doing great, so we're going to move you, which is really hard on families.
For sure.
And so I think they've learned. I don't know for sure, but I don't think that happens as much anymore, but it was pretty standard practice. And so I grew up in an international community in Belgium. I loved living there. However, moving was extremely challenging. And
I'm sure.
Back then, parents and adults just didn't know as much about the grief process and the cultural differences that kids have to go through to move so much.
Right.
Even nationally.
Even within. Yeah. Well, what I feel like in that, and I think about that era, and they knew about it. The method was the kicking under the rug.
Yeah. That's correct.
There's something going on, but that's not.
Just go to school. It's fine.
It's fine.
You got this.
Yeah.
So it was extremely transformative is actually a word that I would use, but informative and formative.
Yeah, for sure.
Who I am and how I've kind of gotten here.
It helped make you who you are. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and so, I mean, because I love to sort of understand the people and the folks that I know here now, what made them and what brought them here. And but you went back and forth. So it wasn't just Belgium and then you stayed there and moved back. You went.
Yeah, and I spent cumulatively 8 years of my childhood, which is most of childhood in Belgium.
Yeah.
And once I kind of actually did that math, now that I have my own kids, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a really, really big deal. And I just kind of grew up not feeling like I knew where I belonged.
Interesting.
In physical space and time. I mean, also all the emotional turmoil of being a human and learning how to find where you belong in that way. But I didn't understand sort of like, where do I live? And actually... Boulder is home for me.
That's amazing. That's your spot.
Yeah.
And so did you have siblings or do you?
I do. I have a brother and a sister and I'm the oldest.
And nice. Yeah. I love that. So you're oldest, you were the boss. A little bit. Excuse me.
You got it. I'm going to give you a pause. I liked being the boss. I don't know if I was.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay.
I tried
fair
really
enough.
hard.
And then what was it like? Did you, because I mean, obviously I know you now as a couple things, because we're talking about what else you do besides Jeff and Paige, which I think is really cool. And I get little tastes of it. But you're very musical. You're very good. You're very creative. Was that something you had as a kid? Were you into music? Were you into sports? Were you into something completely different? How'd that look?
Oh man, you're really going there.
Tell me
you're asking. No, you're asking the greatest questions. I love it. I loved theater and music as a child, and I loved singing. Okay. But I didn't have a lot of permission to express that part of myself.
Interesting.
I felt like this is where I'm going to head. I'm writing a book right now, which I don't even know if you know that. But
I didn't know that.
I think that I'm going to be coming out with it this year, 2026. Amazing. I'm declaring it. It's coming out this year.
There you go.
It's a memoir that I've been working on for a while. And one of the things as I'm in this high-level edit process with it right now is I'm really seeing how I always had these seeds inside of me, but they weren't always watered.
Gotcha.
I came from a family with 2 athletes as parents, and so I was pushed and encouraged very much towards athletics and team sports, and that was really not it for me. So it became a really attention point between me and my parents, especially then with the moving. It was like, just go join a team. That's how you'll make friends. But inside of me, that was, I want to find the right word. that didn't work for me.
Yeah, well,
I'm really sensitive and intuitive and open, and the whole competitive team sports thing was really hard. So anyway, that's a really long
That's a great answer. I mean, in the end, they're trying to say, go find your tribe and make friends. And you're like, wait, you want to put me into two areas where I'm uncomfortable. I don't know anyone, and I have to do something that isn't me.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
wow.
And what I now understand, and so I came to all the music and the creativity later in life, and very organically through following my passions, really, which were, teaching and environmental science, and then somehow I started singing.
Yeah, you started singing. We're going to get to, and this is, and I think it's so cool. You said you're writing a book. You have, I think you came to school for English literature, French literature, right? A little bit of both?
Yeah, I was a double major, English literature and French language, because I had the French from living overseas.
Right. So you're like, wow.
It was sort of like... easy.
It was natural. Yeah. You had and I because my mind's sort of spinning, and it almost brings us to, because you write really, you have a lovely style and ability to write. And you really do. And this is something, again, that comes through. You do a newsletter, and it's very well thought out. It's very well crafted. Not everybody has that. And it's a nice, usually subjects that are either touching or they punch you, or you know what I mean? Like they make you think.
Yes. You're talking about my Paige Doughty newsletter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I love writing.
Yeah, it shows.
Just really do. And that's another way. And if there's ever, people listening to your podcast who are not sure, who are younger or not even younger and have an itch, like scratch it. I knew I was a dancer and a writer and a singer when I was really little. And it took me a really long time to have those it felt like a really long time. I don't know if it really was, but to come through, and now that's what I do all day long, but in this like really unusual way.
In an unusual way.
I've been writing a TV show. I've been writing a book. I write newsletters, and I'm a writer.
And and here amazing.
I am.
That's awesome. I love it. And I'm sort of just piecing things together, and we don't always go in a linear fashion, but I do enjoy hearing about where we're going to go. So coming back, you said this already, back and forth, Belgium and Minnesota, U.S., Europe, and then you mentioned other places that you went as well. School here and gone. So was the first time you came to Boulder 17, 18 years old, right out of high school, ready to go?
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
I have a great story about coming to Boulder. So I came with my dad to look at schools, and I was 16.
I'm sorry, from where?
Thank you. From Minnesota.
Okay.
So I spent high school in Minnesota.
Okay, gotcha.
9th grade through 12th grade in Minnesota.
Perfect. Okay, so he brings you out here. You guys are ready to go.
And I was like, I am so done with high school. I am so done with living at home. I couldn't wait to get out.
Yeah.
And so we came and we did a tour. We did, I think it was Denver University, Boulder, and Colorado Springs. So we came to look at all the schools, and we were here for like a weekend. And when we came through Boulder, it was one of those days like where you couldn't see the mountains because it was snowing or raining, and that thick cloud cover had come in.
Yeah.
And we went on the tour and we did all the things, and I was like, this place seems all right. And then we went and looked at some other ones, and I didn't love anything. And I didn't like love CU. I was just like, it's like, well, what do you think? And I'd looked at other schools too, and I was like, yeah, I guess I'll just apply to CU because they have all the things because it's a huge school, so it's fine. I'll just go there. It was really not a
settled.
Super
You're like, I'm settling.
Informed decision.
Okay.
So that was, a year and a half before I started actual school. And then I got all enrolled at CU Boulder and came here, and I came over that rise that you come up on 36.
Right.
And you come down and you're looking down at one of the most beautiful valleys of mountains.
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
Right.
Still to this day I've ever seen. And I went, oh my goodness.
Right.
Look where I'm going to school.
You had no idea.
I had no idea. That was
the first, you had already clicked through and gone, and you're like, wow, I didn't even, that's awesome.
I was staying in the dorms for an orientation weekend, and you just walk right out and there's the Flatirons. And I was like, I hit the jackpot.
That's cool.
I had no idea.
That's wow. Yeah. And it's interesting because now you appreciate it and you see it, but it wasn't a draw, because I think sometimes people do list as a draw to this place, that beauty.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool story. And so I'm curious, was there anywhere outside of Colorado you considered, or you just knew mountains, or somewhere here was what you needed?
At that time, I think I had, no, I really, we're roughly the same age. It was such a different process to choose a school back then.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so which I think is great. People are more intentional about it, but I was just like, they've got everything.
They've got
there.
it. Yeah.
I'll go
you
there.
sort of said that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Also, it's not in Minnesota. I was like, which I have nothing against Minnesota. I actually think it's fabulous, but because of moving so much and having some trauma around that, I associated it as a bad place.
Yeah, totally.
Myself.
I get that.
So I just needed to get out.
I get that. And it was in the cities, Twin Cities?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're okay.
Huge public high school. Really just like a tricky situation for a kid that had been at a small international school to all of a sudden be at a 3,000 person high school.
Totally. Yeah. Culture shock.
You can read my book about it.
I will towards the end of the year.
Towards the end of the year.
That's really cool. I'm excited to hear that. This is what I really love about this is getting to know people and finding out stuff like that. It's just awesome. But coming to this, so you came and you drove over and you've seen it and you're awestruck. Was it pretty good right away? Was it great? Was it hard being here as a young person in Boulder and going to see you? Tough one, right?
Yeah, it is a tough one. It was great for all the reasons that I thought it was great as a young person, which included doing whatever I wanted because I was 18
out of the house,
on my own, and that was fun. And then you told me I could be really honest, but I think some of what's hard about CU is that it is a party school.
Yeah,
and that got to be too much in my life. For sure.
It as in you went
way too. I went way too into the party school.
It has to be hard not to.
Yeah, I think it's really hard not to at that school.
Right. Yeah.
And I loved going to see you, and if I could go back and sit my younger self down on the couch, I would say like, hey, make some different friends and join the theater club and be in the choir and do those things that you didn't get to do that you really wanted to do when you were younger, and forget about all the house parties and stuff.
Interesting.
But I also am really passionate about working with adolescents. I do see a lot. I work with a lot of adolescents in my private coaching practice.
That's super cool.
Part of that time of life is trying stuff on. So it's not that we can avoid it, but I think having a wise adult along as a companion in those times, which was something I wasn't offered at that time, but I think kids are now.
Yes,
would be really helpful.
That's super. And it's really nice that you're doing that. You're being the person that you needed. Yeah. You didn't know you needed, but now you can see. So what a great service. And it's part of leaving. Is at that age too, is you are entering, you're leaving childhood or adolescence completely behind. You're becoming an adult, and you do need to. You were brought up away, and you have all that stuff and all your parents' stuff, and you're building on it. But you're in this new, so you're like, well, I'm at the party. I should party, but you don't really know.
No.
Well, maybe I should just stop it and go look at these other. Areas. So, and then you're at, I appreciate you sharing that because it is, I think it's important. Like we love it here and there's so many great things, but it's interesting for folks that are maybe listening to and saying either my kid's going there or I'm about to go there. We do have kind of all those folks that will maybe tune in. Now, you went away. Did you finish? Were you here 4 years or 5 years and then gone and then just
I stayed here 4 years. By the end of my college experience, I was getting straight A's and loving school and like really found my way.
Yeah.
And then I moved right when I graduated, or the summer after I graduated, to Sydney, Australia.
What?
Yeah, my parents had moved there for my dad's job, and I could get a visa.
Oh, amazing.
Which is really hard to get. I could get a work visa, so I was like, why wouldn't I, go do this? So I moved to Australia, but also essentially moved back home, which was really hard.
Also, you're like, this is on one hand, amazing, international.
Anyone who's listening who's moved back in with their parents after college graduation knows that it's a tricky situation to go back in, but think you're your own person, but also be kind of like, can you pay the rent for a little bit?
Yes.
But it was wonderful also, like just to move internationally again.
Right. What an opportunity. Yeah. And so what were you doing over there?
Well, my dream was that I was going to go like be on the beach and like
Bondi
write
Beach.
my novel and work at a cafe. But the whole thing with the visa is that you have to get a job that an Australian couldn't do. Like really to keep your visa.
Right.
So it got real kind of fast, Michael.
Yeah.
And
you're like, this is not fun. This is not the dream.
I did some nannying. Remember that I'm not into nannying.
You're like, nope.
Remember that I didn't want to do that. And I ended up going back to school, actually, at Macquarie University and getting my essentially teaching degree.
Yeah.
But it was an abbreviated program, and I started teaching at the American International School.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
And what was the total time you were there?
2.5 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah. So, and 2 cool spots. Like you left here, you went there. It's a neat spot. Good culture, good people. You were enjoying that?
Yeah, it was really good. I think there's culture shock in a different way in English speaking places for those that are English speaking.
Right.
You think it's the same, but you're like, something's not the same, but it's sort of the same.
Yes.
So it takes 3 months and then you start to feel weird.
Yes, I understand you, but I don't understand you, literally and figuratively.
I did really enjoy living there, and I found it at that time there was a lot of sexism.
Yes.
That was happening that was very different than what I experienced here.
Right. Okay.
Especially being in the schools. I was in the schools and actually had a couple of issues with young male students. I was really young. I was only 22 and they were like, I was a high school teacher, by the way.
Yeah. So
that was what I went to school for. And so they were like, oh.
Yeah.
So that was hard.
That
part was hard.
Yeah.
But I grew up fast in a good way, and I found my voice, and I learned how to be a teacher with great boundaries.
Well, also formative. I mean, you think about these paths or these areas where you are, and you're talking about like maybe it wasn't the best, even, the moving, the partying and all that, and you really identify, and then also that, being a teacher and getting that strength of leading a bunch of smelly Aussie 16, 17 age or whatever they are. I didn't have to call them smelly, but I know what you mean. Yeah. Okay. Wow. And you were teaching English or literature?
I taught French and English.
French and English. Okay. Yeah. This is something I have to know as an English literature degree holder. Top 3 books. Go.
Oh man.
I know you didn't think that was coming. Okay. You can stall.
Okay. The God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy is one of my all-time favorite books.
I don't know that one.
Into the Wild by John Krakauer is one of my all-time favorite books.
Yes.
I like that there's a movie of it so people see it, but the book is so much better, people.
So good.
So much better.
He's a really good writer. And so when you look at the topic, you're like, is it just adventure or something? But okay, carry on.
And then let's pick one from my spiritual bookshelf. So Emptiness Dancing by Adyashanti.
Okay. There you go. Write those down. I'm writing them down. I'll listen to this and write them down. But that's cool. I haven't read the first or the third, and I just find that totally interesting. I didn't expect to ask that, but now we have that answer. If you want to give honorable mentions later, you can come back. And so, all right, now we're guessing you're 24, 23 years old, 24-ish. You're in Australia. You're ready to do something else. Is it like I'm drawn back to Boulder, or you go to somewhere else?
If only it was so simple in life. Michael.
Oh no, silly question.
No, well, okay, I was with another partner at the time, and we moved to Paris, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That job I had at the American International School, they lost funding, and so I lost my job.
Okay.
And I lost my visa.
Gotcha.
And it was one of those absolute crisis moments as a young person.
For sure.
It was horrifying, and now with like 10,000 foot view, it's like everything that needed to happen for me to go on a different path.
Right.
But it did not feel like it. It felt very scary. I had a lot of panic attacks.
I bet.
I was really worried about what was happening.
For sure.
And so my partner at the time and I moved to Paris because he could work there, but then I couldn't work. It was very weird.
That's tough.
And we didn't have any money, and I wasn't like, everybody's like, oh, cool, Paris. And I was the most depressed I've ever been in my life.
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Is that true? There was one other time.
second most. Okay.
So I lived in Paris for a little while, and then we moved to Boston, also for this other person, my ex-partner's job.
Yeah.
And so I lived in Boston, and while I was in Boston, I went to graduate school.
Okay.
For environmental education. And that's where I met Jeff.
Because you tell me about this. I have yes. So you're in school there, and there's a program that you get involved with.
Yeah.
This is cool.
So the graduate program that I graduated from with Jeff also it doesn't exist anymore exactly as this. Okay. It was called the Audubon Expedition Institute. It was through Lesley University, which is in Boston.
Right.
But it wasn't based there. We actually traveled around the country on 3 different semesters in 3 different bioregions.
Yeah.
And lived and learned outdoors for each semester.
Wow, that's so cool.
It is hands down one of the most important things I've ever done in my life, and I actually desperately wish it still existed, but they lost funding for the program during the 2008 recession.
Oh my goodness. That was
when they had to close their doors.
They couldn't do it. What a neat, so you're out, you're just in it. You're living what you're learning, you're traveling, and you're so good at traveling. I mean, you may not, you've really established that as a
That was when I got really tired of traveling,
I'm
actually.
Sure. Yeah.
That was sort of like the end. At the end of that graduate program, I remember saying to myself and to the universe, I am going to move somewhere. I am putting down my roots, and I am not leaving.
Yes,
and that's basically where I'm here. That's where I've been for the last 20 years.
Okay. Yes. And then you got this graduate degree. You did you know what you were going to do? Were you kind of already forward thinking, saying, I want to be in this space, or was it just...
So when I started that program, I'd been working with secondary age kids, so middle and high school.
Yep.
And there's let's see if this feels still true. It's maybe shifted a little, but definitely back then there's very little environmental education for middle and high school kids.
Okay.
If you think of nature play for little kids and all the cool things you get to go do with your little kids. It's like they're immersed in nature, they're playing with sand, they're connecting with trees. There's very little of that for older kids, and it's always often connected to environmental issues rather than joy and connection.
Yes.
Which I think is a real miss.
I see that. That is a miss.
Yeah. So I wanted to go back into secondary education, and I did for a little while, and do joyful environmental education for older kids.
That's really neat.
And I did. I worked at New Vista High School, and I ran their service learning program, which is still there, called the Community Adventure Program.
That's super cool.
Several years.
Yes. And then I know I'm thinking as you say that, because I'm thinking about experiences that, like what we have here in Boulder. I think it's pretty unique, but with Thorn Nature Preschool and then you can do all the camps and you do all the stuff, and then all of a sudden you kind of get to 12 or sort of adolescence. It's science, you learn, or as you said, if you're learning environmental studies, it's kind of like, the womp womp. It's not the joyful part. Very fascinating. So you're on this tour, you do get this degree, and you're out and about, and you meet Jeff, and then how did you get to Boulder?
Yeah, I moved back to the fourth semester of that program was a practicum experience. So I did my practicum in Boston.
Okay.
And because of my love for writing, I wanted to do, I've done so many things. I feel like such an old person being like, there are so many different things. I was doing some hands-on environmental education in the elementary schools there through the Audubon Institute in Boston, but my practicum was actually in public radio.
All right.
I did a internship with Living on Earth, which is an NPR program.
Oh, neat.
It was run out of Boston, and it was in environmental journalism. So I was really curious about storytelling and how can I use stories to tell about the earth and connect with people. Turns out, I don't like sitting in a cubicle in front of Pro Tools for hours and hours on end, which is essentially what starting off as a producer in public radio was.
Okay. It's so cool, though, hearing it all as you go through it, that all of the skills that you were along the way developing, all the experiences, and, understanding yourself and what you're good at, but developing to where you are now.
Yeah, it all adds up to this weird thing that I do.
Exactly. And it really makes sense. And so So, okay, so that's done, and bring us back to Boulder.
Yep. Okay. So then I realized I didn't want to be in Boston and in the city, and again with this ex-partner, we decided to move back to Boulder. We had originally met in college, so we both decided to come back here, and I felt like finally I'm coming home. And like I mentioned, I had never really understood, where do I belong? Where's my place?
Right.
And moving back here, I started to realize that I had found my place.
How cool.
I felt like it was calling to me, and I was calling to it, and it felt so right and so good. So moved back here, and that partner and I split ways shortly after that.
Okay.
I think we were in a little bit of a like, if we move the place, then our relationship issues will go away, but it didn't happen.
It didn't.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. Good. Yeah. And new chapter back in Boulder, and you realize you're here, and so it called you, and immediately you started setting roots, and you're in the flow.
And one of my most joyful memories of coming back here, I lived up on 5th Street, on 5th and Forest, rented a house up there. And I built a compost bin in the backyard.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I'm here.
Yes.
I'm going to decompose some soil and plant it again in the spring.
Very good. Very bold. That was a very Boulder welcome. You anchored and you contributed. You gave back. I love that. Okay, and a good spot there, 5th and Forest in the Newlands. I love also kind of the where. This is just because I'm a nerd on people where they experience Boulder, but I also know that you at some point you were roommates. I'm jumping ahead, but you were roommates with Zane and Valentine's violin teacher, Rachel.
I forgot about that connection.
Yes, I know you guys. I found her through you guys. I was at one of your shows, and you mentioned she played, and I was like, I'm finding her.
Do you know she just had a baby?
Yes. Little owl. I know.
Oh, good.
So good.
So glad.
Yes.
Is she teaching again?
She just started. Yeah, she started up. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Anyone need a violin teacher?
She's amazing.
She's awesome. But it goes to show, like, you guys are all so cool, and just good people attract good people. So you guys were roommates, which is neat. Let's go to this. You met Jeff, and you guys started. We talk about it's been over 20 years that you've been doing this. So when did you link up the business? I mean, you could say, however, the partners, the partnership, the businessship.
Yeah, Jeff and I met in graduate school, and we were actually just friends for a long time. Again, I had a different partner at the time, and so did he. And I think hindsight's 20/20, but you can't know what you don't know. But I think I always loved him from the first second I mean, I know I always loved him as a friend, and then I always think there was more possibility there.
Yes.
And then the possibility presented itself.
Yeah.
So
that's nice.
When I moved back here, Jeff was already living here, but totally separate of each other.
Okay.
So this is the thing, people are always like we didn't move here together. He was here. He had his own Boulder connection that was not the same as mine.
Right, yeah.
And so we started hanging out and having so much fun together. And, and he was already doing a little bit of performing.
Okay.
And he had written most of our first album on our graduate program.
Oh, wow.
So it was like part of his coursework was writing those songs.
Right. Right.
And I went to one of his shows at a place that doesn't exist anymore. It was called Playgrounds Cafe.
Okay.
And it was like, come have coffee, but also your kids can play, which is a great business idea, and someone should do it.
Totally.
Because I wish it still existed.
Yes. That's a good idea.
But they had a little stage, and he was performing, and I came just to come see him.
Right.
To be like, my friend, Jeff, he's doing his thing.
Yes.
Like, woohoo! And he was performing, the Bobcat Walk.
Oh, my gosh.
You'll know if you're a Jeff and Paige fan. And he started to lose control of the crowd. Like, he was up there on the little stage, and the kids were, like, completely infiltrating his space, grabbing his stuffed animals, like, trying to touch his guitar, because he's just one guy on the guitar. And he was, like, trapped, right?
Yes.
So I'm like,
Oh, he needs help.
He needs help. So what I started to do is something that will still see at our shows today, is I started to become a bobcat.
Right.
And I said, let's get out our claws. Take your claws, sharpen them on a log in front of you.
Oh,
let's dance like this. And I started dancing and playing with the kids, which directed their attention to me instead of towards the guitar.
That's awesome.
But then what happened is that they started looking at me, and then I felt really awkward. And then at the end of all that, I said, hey, like, I hope that was helpful. And I felt awkward that, like, I took the attention from you. And he was like, when can you come back?
When can you start? When do you start? Right. When do you start? That's awesome. I didn't know that. If I did, I've already forgotten. But so can we just go back to the very beginning? There, in fact, it was Paige and Jeff. Let's just say. Okay, sorry. But that's okay. So that's how you got. When I think about you guys, and I just want to spend a bit of time there, you said you kind of was, when I think about you guys, and of course I met you together, and so I'm not from a previous life, but you guys are really one of those super cool, like peanut butter and jelly relationships. Like you guys go together so well. You can't imagine not being together, peanut butter and jelly, seeing you guys, but then you're different, you know, and you complement each other well, right? And that's, I think that's, as friends, as partners, and then now you run a business together and you raise kids together and you're interacting with all this cool stuff, the TV show that's coming, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, from my standpoint.
I agree.
And I bet so. And I also will say, with, again, to not all be sort of rainbow socks and sunshine and rainbow socks, there's probably difficulties. Do you see difficulties with running a business with your person? I asked that because I do
you work with your wife, Michael?
I do. It's funny you should ask. Yeah.
Really, here's after. You could have asked me this and I would have given you a different answer every year for the last 10 years.
Right. Yeah.
But here's where I am right now. I am so proud of us for sticking with it. It's bringing tears up. I'm so proud of us for sticking with it and getting through the hard times and getting through the breakdowns in communication and learning how to separate our marriage from our business while knowing that they're not actually separate, but having the right conversations at the right times and saying, we're in the kitchen right now making breakfast. Can I ask you a work question? I'm going to ask permission.
Right. Oh, good for you.
Yes, you can. No, you can't.
And then respecting what comes back.
And then being, and that took, I mean, you probably know, but it has taken years of work and knowing where we're coming from in every minute, which is consciousness work, which is, what I teach in my coaching practice too. So that's supported the whole thing as well as that spiritual path.
Oh my gosh. So good.
And I'm so proud of us.
I'm proud of you guys
and
too.
I'm really glad, the other thing is, we don't do a lot of date nights. I'd like to do more.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed over the years is I don't always feel like we have to go on like a quote unquote date night because we see each other during the week.
Yeah.
And it's so great.
It's great. It is. I know. I echo that. Yeah. Just, and you know what's, I've done that before with Amanda where I'll say, can I ask you a work question? And if we are on a date or if we are, and it's the same, it's just a little bit of, and you know what? You have to be able to just say, not right now.
Yeah.
Or totally, let's go. Or maybe you're just jazzed about whatever it is. Because sometimes you're at work.
Yes, but it can't last longer than 5 minutes.
Yeah, you've got 3 minutes.
You can't. Because I'll get started.
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, but also. And And I just watch his face glassing over.
Yeah. That's cool.
It takes a lot of work and a long time to get to know someone in any marriage and relationship. So I'm actually really grateful for our working partnership. I think it makes us stronger.
I absolutely was thinking that right when you said it. And it brings me a little bit to, you just brought it up, the work you're doing, Paige Doughty, so not the Jeff and Paige. And it brings me, I'll throw this out there that kind of ties in. You had one newsletter where you were talking about stomping about in rainbow socks. And for those of you that are not, tied in like we are here, Rainbow Socks, it's the nonprofit, it's the name of the nonprofit, it's the signature, you can buy them, you can wear them as a fan, and then you guys have actual long socks that are rainbow colored. So just so people can orient, but tell us about that little story and kind of what it means and some of the work you're doing.
Yeah. So I have a private practice, coaching, mentoring, guiding, and so much of that work grew up alongside Jeff and Paige.
Right. Okay.
But for really, really, I was doing I was on my own path with that.
Yeah.
And for a really long time, I kept them kind of separated. I couldn't figure out how they integrated. And then about 3 years ago, I started my private practice, and I realized I was ready. And it took a little bit of the pressure off. I mean, it was partially a financial decision too.
Right.
Like we just diversify the income stream and have something where I didn't work with my husband every day.
Right. Yeah.
So that's been really nice in that sense. And then one of the ways that I love to write and teach is to use personal stories to illustrate universal concepts.
Gotcha.
And so the blog article you're talking about is one where it's from a long time ago, but the story is I was walking up the hill, and I'll use the place because you know it, up the hill at Chautauqua towards that shelter.
Yes.
That's right by the Chautauqua Auditorium, and we were going to do a birthday party back when we used to do birthday parties. We do not do birthday parties anymore, everybody. I just want you to know that. It's okay. We do love your kids, and we'll always sing them happy birthday.
Yes.
Anyway.
Happy birthday.
I was walking up that hill, and I saw that Jeff had, in my mind story was that he had put the stuffed animals all in the wrong places.
Yeah.
And I was furious.
Yeah.
And I was marching up the hill, and I was going to get into a whole argument with him, and birthday family was probably about to arrive, and we would have been yelling at each other about where this stuffed beaver does not go here.
This is all wrong.
It does not go here.
Right.
And I had this moment of insight where I realized I didn't have to believe my mind's thoughts.
There you go.
And I had awareness, and I laughed. I started laughing because that sounds hilarious that I would get an argument with a grown man in my, as my 30s.
About stuffies.
But for us, that was our work. It was really, it seemed really important. And so one of the lessons from that newsletter is about recognizing what your preferences are and releasing them.
Okay. Yes.
So I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you did.
Entirely.
It's great because it also sort of following on the work, the work you do in the private practice. Yeah. That's what you do. You're helping people be able to do that because it's also not easy. Because in the moment, all you want to do is just scream, "That beaver's in the wrong place. What's wrong with you?" Right? Whatever your situation is.
Yeah. And I think a superpower that I have is really open and authentic and vulnerable, and I'm not afraid to share about myself. And I use that all the time in my coaching.
Okay.
Because it's so much easier to understand if you're not just getting the lesson as the lesson.
Right.
Okay, go practice non-attachment and having no preferences. Good luck.
Right.
And good luck, actually. But, grounding it into story is what I love to do.
And so do you, in that practice, you meet in person? You bring people in? You've got time?
Yeah, so I have, I do mostly one-on-one sessions.
Right.
And
that's great.
I see teens, so adolescence is defined as 12 to 24. Our brains are developing for that long. It's about brain development.
Okay.
I see teens, I see adolescents, I see adults. So I see everybody, all the ages and genders. And
that's great.
I also lead a meditation group twice a month. On Thursdays.
And that's live in person. Everybody goes.
It's all and so I see everybody in person. I do Zoom as well.
Sure.
Except that I don't use Zoom.
Right.
It is Google Meet.
Google Meets, You Google Zoom. You do a Google Zoom. You Zoom them over Google.
Zoom just got that. They got that right word, didn't they? It's a verb. And
it's the Xerox of our day. Or
Kleenex, Tupperware.
Totally. Let's keep going. I have no more. You go. I'm falling apart. So that's awesome. And I see the newsletter. So how can people find more about this if that's striking a chord with them?
Yeah. My website is Paige Doughty, DOUGHTY.com, and you can check it out there. I have a newsletter you can sign up for. I'm sending stuff out sort of twice a month right now. The next newsletter I have coming out is called is on the subject of how to consciously engage with the news right now without getting overwhelmed.
Whoa. I'll tune into that one. Here's how I disengage. No news. Is it help me? Nope. Disengage. But that's good. Okay. So cool. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's fascinating. And I love how I see when you told me about it a couple years ago, I immediately knew, I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. I get it. And it's still very different to how a lot of folks interact with you.
Yeah,
it's absolutely. A different space, right?
I did a really fun speaking engagement in the fall this year at the Junkyard Social Club through an organization that is really cool called Creative Mornings.
Okay.
And I was the speaker for the day, and it was just me. It wasn't me and Jeff. It was just me.
Yes.
And people were like, "What?
What's going on?"
I'm like, "Oh, I'm a whole other person, everybody. Oh my gosh, did you know that?" Sorry, a little bit of sarcasm there.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was so much fun for me to do that, and I'm trying to remember. I did you can actually watch the talk. They took video of it on my website, and you can read the transcript.
Okay. Yeah.
But it was so fun to do my own other thing in a performance way.
I bet.
And I had so many people come up to me afterwards and be like, "Whoa, this is amazing."
Yes.
And it's not Jeff and Paige.
It's really, I mean, from someone on this side, it's neat to see, because it is cool to see not only the separation, you standing alone, but totally different.
Yeah.
And people, because people care about you already, and then they get to learn more about you and ideally interact, in a different way and care more.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Some of what your listeners and you might have gotten out of today is, I really originally, I didn't want to work with little kids.
Right.
My heart is with adults and with teens and adolescents.
Yes.
So it's kind of like I get to express my teaching skills in a different way with that population. But for me, it all connects back now to the joy and authenticity and love and connection that we experience as young people, as children, and helping people refine that, because that's really who we truly are, is that open, clear, content awareness, and we all have it in there. It's just a matter of finding it again. So that's where the through line is.
That's so nice. I love that. And that's, yes, it's something that we could all look in and sort of say, where can I find that connection to that inner child, or that, whatever it is, all of that, just appreciate those things like we did as kids. It's so fun to be around kids and learn if you're open to it.
Yeah.
And you realize that's really why they're here, I think, to teach us. That's to me. But, okay, this is another, I want to switch gears, but this is a side question. Have you read The Conscious Parent?
I have read it.
Did you like that one?
I didn't love it.
You didn't like it? Okay. I don't know if,
Have you read it?
I read it. I listened to it. I audio booked it. There were some pieces that made me really think that I liked.
I think there's some great stuff in there.
Right.
And it's been a minute since I've read it too.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a sidebar.
Yeah.
It's not, and it only because we kind of just went from.
The part, if I'm remembering correctly, that I loved from it, that feels like the absolute truth and was my most important takeaway, is being aware of what you're bringing to the conversation.
Yes, 100%. That for me too.
And if you're in consciousness, you're clear.
Yes.
And that means you don't have hidden agendas. You're not manipulating or having those preferences unconsciously.
Yes.
You're human. You're going to still have preferences and agendas and stuff, but if you know what you're doing with it, then you're in clarity.
I agree. I mean, that's well said, well summarized, because I agree. Just having that sort of looking at yourself too. It's just really just, what am I bringing? Yeah. How am I responding?
If I'm remembering correctly, Michael, the part of it that was hard for me at the time, it was when my first child was quite young that I read it, I got a little bit of a vibe from it, like, and if you don't do this, you're gonna mess them up. That was too harsh.
It's too much.
It's too unilateral.
Yes, and I think there was a part, I agree with you, and they kind of were like, well, if you're not in the 3 to 6, well, you pretty much that phase is done. You're in trouble. So now it's like, well, you already messed that up. So let's move on.
Yes,
and teenage years are coming. So if you don't get this right, you're sending some really bad child off into the world. I was like,
it was like a little too much like responsibility.
You're like, I thought I was just
why did I even bother
feeding the child? Pump the brakes. Yeah. Okay. So thanks for indulging that. I want to go here. Let's talk about Boulder for a little bit. Let's just close out with you in Boulder. The days in, days out, kind of Paige in Boulder. Are you allowed to share your sort of favorite restaurant here, if you're just going out with the kids or with Jeff or by yourself? It could be anything. Where do you love to eat here in town or in the county?
We love Tiffin's.
Oh, okay.
The Indian place at Arapahoe and Folsom.
Yeah.
It is our family favorite.
That's your family
Everyone
favorite?
will eat there.
Way. Okay.
And we have one kid that loves to eat and is very adventurous, and one kid that will rarely eat anything. Yeah. And that place is our place.
So that's your spot. Mm-hmm. You know everyone's getting fed. Everyone's
I get
happy.
Excited about going there. I love the sag paneer.
There you go. Very cool.
Yeah, they also have this. I'm totally spacing the name, but they have this like lentil pancake.
Okay,
and it's a meal though. You can put cheese in it, and I'm totally forgetting the name of it.
Okay, good. I love that. Yeah. And is it, how frequently do you get to go there? Is it kind of a special occasion, or is that, hey, we're out of time, let's run?
It's more of a, hey, we're out of time.
Yeah.
And then if we were going, so I don't know what my husband shared when he came on your podcast, but he is not a fancy dinner guy.
Yeah.
It's a no for him.
Yeah, it's a hard no.
It's a hard no. Yeah. And I grew up living in Europe and going to a lot of fancy dinners, and I really enjoy a fancy dinner once in a while.
Right.
So, and our son Wolf really likes just culinary experiences.
Oh, nice.
So Wolf and I are trying some fancy restaurants.
So where have you been?
Once a year. We've only done it once, and he wanted a steak, so I took him to the steakhouse.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That's our first one, but cool. I think our next one is going to be Black Cat.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I do love Black Cat.
Yes.
But when do I go? I've gone twice.
Right. Now, and so Black Cat farms out on, that spot is so cool. Yeah. You will love it.
Yeah.
It's really special.
Yeah.
And the food's great and everything good there.
I'll tell you another family thing that we do that's great. So we have started once or so a year, we do a staycation at the St. Julian.
Oh, nice.
And that's been really fun too.
Oh, very cool.
And so then we'll go out for and our daughter loves sushi and we love happa for that.
So you go to happa? Yes.
I mean, I like Japango.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say it.
Of course.
Can I say all this stuff? It feels so indulgent.
100%.
I love Japango, but happa for the kids.
Yes, happa as well. Yes. Mm-hmm. No, they're both amazing. Yeah, they're both great. They both serve.
And I ate at Jack's Fish House for the first time ever because Jeff doesn't eat fish. Oh. So we won't really do stuff like that. But when we were doing our TV shoot, me and our other cast member, Sean, we were like, let's go out for a dinner. And we went out for fish there.
Jack's Fish House.
Really good.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I haven't heard, the fun thing too is that we always get to hear I haven't heard that one mentioned, and it's a great Boulder, long time, wonderful spot there on West Pearl. So, and then same Hapa, Japango. What about, and then do you ever go out for breakfast? Do you ever go out for coffee? Is there a spot you love?
Walnut Cafe, 100%.
Yes.
Yeah, I love the Walnut because you can get the gluten-free pancakes as a side.
Yes.
I mean, it's just nowhere can compete.
Yeah.
And they have their pancakes are the best.
Yes, that's true. That's a proven fact. I think that's indisputable.
A lunch place I just discovered is Papusa's 2, which is also on Arapahoe. Really.
Right. Yeah.
Amazing.
But they also
they do breakfast too, and I haven't gotten there for breakfast, but I would.
I need to pop in there and get both. Okay, very cool. And then I like this question because it kind of just wraps in. Let's say you've got someone visiting, and you've got someone visiting and you want to just give them a taste of Boulder. They've never been before, and you want to share with them some of your favorite things. And this doesn't necessarily mean the thing you would do, but this is something that you want them to experience. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It does.
Can you do that? Someone's coming in.
Yeah. I want to do it in a really specific way.
That's perfect. It has to be. It must be.
So it's a person that doesn't have huge mobility.
Okay.
So, right. So we always think of I'm going to take them to the first Flatiron, but my parents, they can't do that anymore. And I always am. So I'm always, and also little kids.
Sure. Good.
So this is a day for a group that has maybe some mobility issues, either because they're small people or older people.
Very cool.
I would go to the Anu White Trail.
Nice.
And then we would get coffee at Beleza.
Right on.
That would be for me. I'm obsessed.
Yes.
Hot buttered coffee at Beleza.
Oh, wow. Perfect. That's order. The one. Okay.
Add a splash of coconut cream.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so we'd basically start in way North Boulder at the Anu White Trail. Then we'd go to get coffee, and then we'd make our way down to Pearl and just wander. And then they'd probably be tired because they're old.
Because they're old and immobile.
But if they had more energy, I'd wander all the way up West Pearl and just on foot.
Just stroll.
Yeah.
Okay.
And get up to is it still called Eben
Eben G. Fine? Yeah, they didn't change that one.
They changed the other one to the People's Crossing.
That's right.
And and the rocks there.
Yes, with red rocks.
Yes.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good, because that's a nice, achievable. All right, this is just a little bit of almost the same question, but could you think for a second, if you had your ideal Boulder County day, so you've been given the whole day from wake up till bedtime, and you can bring anyone with you. It can be winter, spring, summer, fall. You can be alone. You can be active. You can be anything. If you were just going to say, you know what, I'm planning the perfect Paige day. And you can be very specific.
Okay.
And you're just as mobile as you would be. So you can go. Have I given you enough time?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Yeah, I got it.
All right.
I would head out on my, with Jeff.
Okay.
It would be me and Jeff.
Perfect.
On a date.
Yes.
All day. We would head out on bikes.
Okay.
And we live in East Boulder, Gun Barrel. So we have electric bikes really for that reason, because it's a bit of a hike, but totally bikeable. We would bike into town and take the long way along the creek path, because they finally finished that construction on 61st in this fantasy.
Yes.
I don't know if you're privy to that, but
south of J or north of J or all of the stuff. Yes. Anyway,
or anywhere near where I live.
Yes.
Anyway, the construction's finished on this ideal day. And we would bike along the creek path, and we would stop for breakfast, probably at the Walnut Cafe, and then make our way all the way up to Chautauqua for a big hike.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Maybe the Mesa Trail. Oh, wow. Another really great day that I've done. I'll fold this in, is that we've done a hike where one of us starts at one end of the Mesa Trail and the other starts at the other end of the Mesa Trail, and we've been wanting to redo that. So let's say that's this day.
And then you hand the key off.
So we hike and we meet in the middle and have a picnic and then keep hiking. So you get some alone time and some couples time.
How cool is that?
But then, because this is the whole day and we have so much time, we would meet up again, and then we would end the day at the relaxing station.
Oh, massage. Wow. Yes. Right on. And then you're done. Do you guys go out for dinner? You're still on bikes?
We're still on bikes. We'd be on bikes the whole day. We'd probably end with dinner at the Mountain Sun.
Mountain Sun, right
place. On. That's a place we can both agree on for dinner.
Yes.
It's really hard to find them sometimes, Michael.
Yes. Well, you just did two. You did two in one day. I mean, you guys both Walnut and Mountain Sun. That's so cool. Great stuff. I love that. And when was the last time you did that?
No, it's been a long time.
It's been a while. You've got to do it. You've got to do it. We'll check in. You've got to do it. Schedule it. Because the one thing that if we come back to the working with the partnering, being busy, raising kids, doing this, driving here, and doing podcasts with people, all the stuff, I think it's super important to just say, you know what? You and me, let's do our favorite things. Because that would be magical, even if you got half a day of your favorite day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. And the other thing that we love to do that I didn't include in the day, but was dancing. We'd go out dancing. But that would be we'd be too tired to dance on that day.
Yeah, you probably would. Yeah.
We're getting older, Michael. We could.
No, it's a frame of mind. You're good. You're young. Great. I love it. And you mentioned that at the beginning, you're a dancer. You said that in your first kind of the open, you identified as that something. And you guys get to dance at work and it shows, but it's probably different. You want to do a different kind of dancing.
Different kind of
dancing.
The good
stuff. So
I'm gonna. I believe we're getting tickets to go see Rufus Du Sol at the Folsom Field. He's gonna be here in August. So
very cool.
Get our little EDM fix.
Yeah.
Jeff goes out a lot more than I do.
Yeah.
He goes to a lot of shows.
Yeah. Okay.
That'll be like my one of the year.
That'll be it.
Yeah.
I think it sounds super fun. Well, here's it's not the last question, but realistically, can you tell me this? We talked, you knew you were coming. Is there somewhere that you felt like I dropped the ball, wish I had asked this, something you wanted to bring up, anything that you could share with me and with everyone here that was on your mind, or maybe I just did a poor job and you're like, hey, you forgot. And if not, that's okay too.
No, I think you did really well.
Oh, we've had a nice conversation. Yeah. Good. Very cool. Yeah. I love it. It's super fun for me. It's better than expected, and I had high expectations, so I really did. And it's a pleasure to get to know you. I hope you had fun as well.
I had a great time, and now I'm just like, I got to invite you on my podcast so I can do this for you. I don't have a podcast. Right there.
Well, if you ever need to borrow the studio, you just come, book the time. It's free, and you can interview me. No, you interview someone. Doesn't matter.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Really had a lovely time.
It has been a treat. And I'll say this again, thanks for joining Paige Doughty and me here. And this is what we do at the close of every conversation. We encourage you to go out there, and you as well, Paige, and do something that you love.